day 5 of an illegitimate government in Zimbabwe following the signing of the unconstitutional constitutional amendment number 3. Yesterday I skipped a day, but today the struggle continues. I don't usually enjoy talking about current events, but today I want to speak about the journalist Zenzile, who has recently received a car donation from Emerson Mnangagwa. Now, usually we don't understand what effect some of these donations have on us, the general people, and my intention is try to expose that. We had Hope Ochungwon, who was writing criticizing the government, and the government came hard on him, repressing what he was doing, arrested him, and then he was later released. Another example, Blessed Mhlanga. He was arrested for giving platform a war veteran who was talking about the wrongdoings that the government was doing. Again, they arrested him. He stayed for a very long time, and later he was then released. Now, these two journalists have maintained their credibility on criticizing the government. Everyone has seen the iron fist of the government on what on their work that they are doing, and we all know it's very wrong. And now when Hope writes wherever he is, we do listen because we see him as a credible person. When we see Blessed Mhlanga exposing some of the activities that are happening in Zimbabwe, we lend him an ear because he is credible. Now, Zenzile comes up and he starts doing documentation or video interviews of liberation war fighters and telling their stories. Some of those stories is come with damning evidence or damning narrative of what some of government officials or what ZANU-PF is doing. He has been criticized as a Western funded puppet, and even ZANU-PF Varakash had been criticizing him on what he has been doing. But the people listened to him. The work he was doing was becoming very popular, and ZANU-PF didn't like this. They could have taken the same method that they did on Blessed Mhlanga and Hope Ochungwon, but no, they did something very sinister. They decided to donate a car to him, something that we have seen happening in our community with Wikne Uchifayo championing that thing. Now, you will see what will happen. The people that loved him, the people that listened to his videos, the people that promoted his work, feel like he has sold out. And you have a justification and say, I'm not captured, they just gave me a car. But what really happens there is the credibility that you had to interview these people, for them to allow you to ask them questions. They trusted you as somebody who was telling their story. Now, when you arrive at their place, driving a car that they have been given by a ZANU-PF leader, they won't listen to you. You have lost that. And what did the people lose? The stories that they could have learned on how the struggle was fought, on how our fathers and grandfathers, our mothers and grandmothers pulled up a resistance against an oppressive regime of Smith and his government. Those lessons are key in us understanding how it is very similar what Smith was doing and what ZANU-PF is doing today. But now, all of that is lost, only because one man decided to receive a car that he feels might help him to even go further in the work that he's doing, a car that he feels appreciates the hard work that he was doing, that he feels the general public were not giving him enough support. But at what cost? Is that car worth the credibility that you had? And when ZANU-PF gives you this, is it by accident? It's a strategy, and they didn't come up with it. They borrowed it from China. There's a concept called outsourcing repression. I'll think about reading some of the things that I have come up with from reading that book. But I want to invite you, if you go on Substack, search for ONGAP, you'll see there's a series there. It has 10 reports. Today, I'll be publishing report number 6. It will show you the concepts that they've learned in their Look East policy on how to repress people without using force or government instruments that will have similar effects or even better. Now, Zenzile will lack the credibility that Blessing Mhlanga still keeps. He will seem as if he is still free to do his work in Zimbabwe, where Blessed Mhlanga can't, because the moment he goes back there, he'll be arrested. But who is really doing his work with a clean heart? Right now, Zenzile will be running around trying to convince his loved ones to say, no, I did not sell out. But the people that you don't have access to do not care. Publish the next video and see the analytics and see if your work is still going to continue and grow. And the people are going to lose from the good work that you are doing because you couldn't see how far this strategy goes. In your head, you just think it's just a car. But to them, it's a tool that will strip off any credibility that you have. The work that you are doing, you are probably going to get close to exposing some of the things that will be crucial in this next struggle to remove ZANU-PF and all its roots. But it's gone now. No one will listen to you. People will think you are also part of them. And no matter what you tell people, I am not one of them. I was doing this for a long time. All of that is gone. We are never going to win this war against this oppressive government if we do not learn exactly what they are doing. You can never protect your household if you don't understand how things are being stolen and yet you think your doors are still locked. We really need to educate ourselves. Like I've been asking, let us talk to each other and understand our pain. Those war veterans have got serious pain that they suffered. We need to get from them exactly what pushed them to the level of which someone would decide to go and die for a country. We don't have that. We do not respond like that. And some of these strategies that they use, they are designed to make sure that any resistance is diminished before it even starts. And we think Tungwarara or Chivayo are just doing acts of kindness, and we don't know how those things numb us so that we don't move, so that we don't act, so that we do not claim back our country. There's a quote from a very smart man who said, "My people perish because of lack of knowledge." First thing, accept your ignorance in the strategies that ZANU-PF are using today. Accept your ignorance in what has just happened by signing of this unconstitutional amendment. Accept that ignorance and then try and find who probably knows and understands what really happens here and what it means to me.